I'm Barry Trammell, and I'm worried about the future of the Big 12 Conference.
I'm John Rohde. Welcome to Press Row from Pubco Studios. And Barry, you have nothing to worry about. Texas isn't going anywhere. It would literally take an act of the Texas Congress for Texas to leave the Big 12 for the Big 10. What are the advantages for Texas for leaving?
Well, I think it's financial. Big 10 teams make $10 million more per school through their media contracts. You're right, John. It would be a political nightmare, but I think it's possible that Texas and Texas A&M could collude, and maybe the Big 10 would take them both. I do think there are disadvantages, though, if Texas wanted to leave the Big 12.
Well, aren't the two most powerful teams in the Big 12 Texas and Oklahoma? Because it's all about football. You take away Texas and Oklahoma from the Big 12 standings, holy smoke, what do you got?
Well, that's why I'm worried. I think the league could disintegrate if Texas decided to leave. And I think Texas is very appealing to not just the Big Ten, but the Pac-10, which made inquiries to the Longhorns in the 90s. I just think it's something they need to really monitor. The Big 12, whatever it can do, it's already made concessions. The whole pay structure in the Big 12 is not equitable. That's primarily a Texas request that's been granted these 15 years. It's not that way in the Big 10. Everybody shares equally, but they share a lot more.
Well, let me ask you one last thing. What would this mean for recruiting? The closest school, I believe, would be Iowa, which is literally 1,000 miles away from Austin. Would Texas kids tend to stay in the Big 12 so they could go to more games instead of just home games?
Well, I think that's the one thing Texas will probably take a serious look at. They remember the model of Arkansas. Arkansas left the Southwest Conference in 1990, and in these 20 years has never regained its stronghold in Texas recruiting. East Texas used to be an Arkansas fertile ground. Not so since the Razorbacks went to the SEC. Stay tuned for further coverage on News OK, as well as every day in the Oklahoma.